Friends, how are you doing? We just had a Monday in the market and it was spectacular. So obviously, everyone knows at this point. I think everyone's up to date. The news Friday, Trump, tariff, China, okay, crashes the market. Trump comes back out later that night, says a little something to bring the market back a little bit. And then we go through the weekend. People are freaking out. Oh my gosh, people are saying insane things about the market. This is it. And then turns out Sunday, Trump comes out and says, like, actually, you know what? Not that big of a deal. Literally, after he said that, the markets even Sunday night started to come back. I think all of us, we were getting notifications on our phone about crypto, even stocks were starting to come back here. SoFi was one. I got a notify about SoFi like 8 o'clock on a Sunday night, like, oh, SoFi is running. So orders were coming in here. People are already putting in orders, and volume is starting to shoot up here. So right now, what we're looking at with SoFi is that I think this is just what's about to happen. I want to talk about Applied Digital too, because Applied Digital is just it's going crazy. It's going crazy. It's insane. But staying on track here with SoFi real quick, looking at this chart right now, this candlestick chart, I don't think this is necessarily a conversation of if or when or how. More or less when. I think it's, the fact that SoFi is definitely going to push into this $30 position. And this week alone, we're having a lot of quarterlies. And this week is for bank stocks. We're seeing BlackRock, JP, Citi, Wells Fargo, down the line, every bank that you can probably, banks that are pillars of our, country are releasing quarterlies this week. So this week will be very interesting to see if they produce good quarterlies. And if they do, that is definitely going to keep a lot of the momentum in the market elevated pretty good here. And then next week we're having a lot more banks, but retails, AI starting to show a lot of, quarterlies, McDonald's, all that kind of stuff. So SoFi here is but, essentially less than 20 days out from quarterlies, okay? In this next quarterly will probably once again be another banging quarterly. Looking at this candlestick chart here, we've had this initial huge sell-off, and that huge red line right there, that is Friday. That was Friday. And I told everyone over the weekend, I said when this crashed, even early, like a little too early, when the initial crash came Friday, I went in and I started to load up on SoFi. And because in buying it at this high position that I'm buying it at right now, this is kind of a swing position that I'm doing in SoFi right now. I've already got SoFi, that I was buying a year, 2 years, 3 years ago, very low level. But I think this is going to be, for me, an easy swing to get some, gold bars out of SoFi here. So I went in and I just started buying up SoFi around like 2 o'clock. I can't remember, on Friday. Then the market kept drowning. It kept going. I started buying more. So SoFi fell to really good level Friday, and I kept buying. So the why I'm telling you that is because of the confidence that I think what we're seeing here in SoFi. SoFi survived. It didn't even go down to 24, 23. It held pretty good ground. So there's a huge wall right now of SoFi around $25, $26. That is definitely where we're seeing a stronghold with SoFi. And we already know that SoFi can touch 30, 31. We've already pretty much been here. The last quarterly, the last big run we had on SoFi was around that level. Okay, so we know people are willing to go there with it, and more than likely that will happen here probably within 10-15 days, more than likely, because the quarterlies are going to be coming out here. So the big question is how aggressive can SoFi get? And two, this is a very interesting week for the market because, are the Feds going to open back up? Is the government going to open back up here? The 15th is a huge day for a lot of things that the government, has to do in the middle of the month. Two, with that, the Feds are supposed to release some more news here. They just may not. It may not come out. We still never even got the job reports for September. But what too could be just happening here, that things are so unknown, and we know they're bad with job reports. It's not like they got any better. More than likely, we will see another rate cut, a 25% rate cut at the end of October. With that, we're going to be heavily integrated with quarterlies from companies here. So I would highly suspect if you are swinging SoFi here, this is probably going to do well for you. If you're I'm long term, I'm swinging, I'm playing it all. I'm playing all ways possible here. Option trading, whatever you're doing. I would highly suspect that SoFi is going to be running hot here with the news, especially this week, if we see these bank stocks do very well, because obviously SoFi, a bank stock, but obviously too, a lot of people like to say that SoFi is more than a bank stock. I hate to say the word AI, but I'll just say it has very advanced software for a bank. Okay, that's what we'll say, just to kind of give everyone credit what they like, and kind of submerge some of the arguing there. But and I love SoFi, obviously. I'm not going against the grain here with it. I believe what we're seeing here is just even at this stage right now with SoFi, the very beginning stages of what's coming here. SoFi undoubtedly, if Tom Lee can get his 7,000 point range here out of the S&P 500 by the end of this year, more than likely we're still looking at a lot of stocks, even at this stage right now, pre-quarterlies at this moment, that are going to do even bigger, shifts up here by the end of the year. I think that's a very real possibility, and that's crazy, I know to say, but I don't know what's really going to stop the market at this point, because if we do see a continuation of quarterlies do well here, it's just going to keep this bubble in the market going here. Now, once the S&P 500 hits 7,000 point range, the NASDAQ hits another big range, the Dow, everything, I don't really know where we go from there. I mean, things are so priced up at this point, but I still believe that even buying SoFi at this even $30, $35 range, we could be talking about you're still in profit range even, this time next year, because especially because imagine that SoFi just continues to do what SoFi's been doing. And that's fully what we expect. Us as investors believing in SoFi, wanting to think, what is the worst that SoFi can deal with right now? Obviously, it's a lack of gathering up as much customers that they've been doing. Obviously, SoFi has started something here with a feeding frenzy with, this massive amount of customer basis it is reeling in every quarterly. Quarterlies alone, revenue are increasing dramatically. And this is what is keeping, this feeding frenzy of SoFi going right now. So, by Q4, there's a real conversation that SoFi is going to be in this $1 billion range with quarterlies, and that's going to be that's going to change a lot of things here. That's going to make a lot of the bears be quiet, because there's so many people that were saying that SoFi is just never going to get to this range, and I think a lot of people are about just to eat crow on that. Sad to say, there's a lot of people that were betting against SoFi, and it's just not working out for them because they keep doing unbelievable numbers. So just be aware that SoFi is probably going to find itself in a dramatic push here, more than likely. I guess what I want to say here is that we saw Friday what the worst can bring. As of right now, the market sold off dramatically Friday. If that's the worst we are dealing with price manipulation, with SoFi hitting rock bottom, then we're okay. We're okay if that's the worst we're dealing with here, because in two, that's kind of how I'm looking at Friday. And I said, man, I think a lot of us, it's not like something special about me here. I think a lot of us were saying this. We're like, okay, been here, done that. We've seen this before. And that was such a key moment Friday, because that told us where a lot of stocks are. it told us what the bottoms are. From Palantir to Applied Digital, even right now, which I'm going to talk about, mini stocks, even low cap stocks that, don't have a lot to stand on besides momentum and hype. We saw what the bottoms were. And that was a great moment for investors in the market because we got to see what's the worst we can deal with at this very moment. Well, that may have been it at the moment. I'm very excited about what's about to happen here. This is a lot of people, whether you're swing trading, you're just excited about what SoFi can potentially be about to come out with here. This is going to be a very intense moment with these quarterlies. And this is really going to tell us what we can end out the year with and start the year here in 2026. So this is going to be a very defining moment for SoFi to see what they, unleash here to the world here with these quarterlies. All right, so Applied Digital, this is one of those situations where, I am not going to tell you what to do in Applied Digital. I am simply looking at this moment as a spectator, okay? Applied Digital obviously is completely priced over what it should be. And I only say that for the person in here saying, why would anybody buy this stock, this company right now at almost $40 a share? I completely get that. I completely get that statement. But too, this is why I was in here when Applied Digital was, like even $15, $20 and like, this is the run. And $20 was like my limit on Applied Digital. $15, I was like, I still think you're in profit range. 20, I was like, whoa. Now sitting at this low $35 where we find ourselves at, in last week this thing was almost at $40. Now obviously, if you're like, why is this stock so hot right now? One reason that kind of has lingered here for a minute, the company has been doing phenomenal with revenue this year. They haven't been hitting quarterlies as of till now, but they've still been very high up in bringing in money to, new wealth. Partnerships, literally building growth on where they're at right now, building. And two, they just came out with this quarterly that was the biggest quarterly the company has ever produced, back up in this $60 million range. So, and two, I like I've said, I really do think the market is transforming into the next stage of where the market wants to go, which data centers, robotics, quantum computing, along taking with what's been going on here the last 2 years in the market, software, security, chips. I mean, these are all things that are all working together. AI is turning into this bubble of AI is, it's bringing these other avenues of tech with it. So, data centers they're here to stay whether people like it or not. I mean, they're just going to be a part of our world, your kids' world. I mean, they're just here. They're like the new power plants that are just bringing in a lot of money. I mean, there's not too many power plants you can invest in these data centers like Applied Digital. Essentially, I mean, they're not like crazy sexy stocks to get into. It's not like you're buying Tesla, but you're buying into this stock, this company that's just making aggressive money at a very aggressive fast pace, and that is Applied Digital right now. So like I said, friends, I am not going to tell, you decide where you want to be with this right now. And even what I said about Friday, Friday was a very interesting moment, once again, saying that to see, what's the worst Applied Digital can deal with right now. And even today, it went right back up into this $38 position, sold off towards the end of the day. But, a lot of, I've been searching here the last few days on chat rooms, trying to figure out what is the conversation right now with Applied Digital. Where are people at mentally with Applied Digital? And I dare to say, I think a lot of the zeitgeist movement out there, when I'm looking at Applied Digital, it's very bullish. People are saying that, a lot of people are projecting this to go to 50 to 60, crazy numbers. Because, and obviously too, it's because that is where data centers are going, network, all that kind of stuff. Applied Digital's got a really good start. And if this company can, I mean, imagine if Applied Digital keeps coming out with these aggressive quarterlies like this. I mean, imagine if, even if the next quarterly is around like 65 million. Imagine, by the end of, this phase of these quarterlies, they do their quarters a little different, but if they can be up in a $70 million range, if they're growing that aggressively, my God, this is what's going to keep this $30-$40 position, maybe even more. There's plenty of stocks on the market right now that are very aggressive with numbers that are well overpriced and aren't even making the kind of money that Applied Digital is making. So I mean, I'm just looking at Applied Digital right now. I'm going like, this is amazing. I mean, this might be one of the best stocks I have ever called. I mean, this thing has went way past my expectation of what it's going to do. So if you're sitting here like, this is crazy, I am right there with you. I mean, it makes me so happy just to look at the stock. And two, it makes me happy to know that people have been buying this since $5, $10, $15, $20 even. Even when, people were buying this at 27, I was like, so yeah, I mean, this is wild. This is absolutely wild. And two, I mean, the company's backing this up right now. Partnerships, building on this aggressive, crazy quarterly they just came out with. I mean, this is, even if the next quarterlies aren't hitting expectation, but they're just in this high $50 million range, that's like a repeat of what we've already seen this year. It's still in a very high position of where, this aggressive money is still at. So it's telling us more and more about what we're going to see each year. This is why the company, the stock, the share price is holding this aggressive range right now. So yeah, friends, be excited. There are so many avenues right now for investing. It is really interesting out here. And I think October is trying to tell you something like, hey, the market is wanting to push and we're just waiting for all the green flags to show themselves, and it's on. So yeah, friends, good luck out there. Congratulations. It's been a crazy, crazy Monday. We'll see what Tuesday brings here, and I'm excited. Bye, everyone. Take care.